Okay, here to work with Miley. We're outside the house. This is right before the session. Miley has excited urination, also likes to jump up and sometimes nips people. All of these things are usually related to dogs that are overstimulated, overexcited. We call this above threshold. So I called and I spoke to the guardian ahead of time. And if you're watching this, you're probably a friend of the guardian and you're watching this to kind of figure out how to come into the house. So when you have dogs that are really excited, the more that we continue on or move forward, the more excited the dog's gonna get. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go knock on the door. She's gonna open the inside door and the outside door she's gonna leave closed. You're gonna notice I'm not gonna, and I'm explaining this all now because it's probably gonna be a lot of barkiness. She's a Cavachon, I think Cavachon, so small dog. But basically, I'm gonna wait for the dog's energy to get pretty darn calm. I like to say dogs have an energy level 1 to 10. 10 is bouncing off the wall, 0 is asleep. So I'm gonna try to get the dog close to a 1. Now, for expediency purposes for this video, I might not get all the way down to a 1. And if you're doing this, you wanna wait until your dog, there's a difference between calmer and calm. We want the dog to be calm. But because I don't want this to be a 25-minute video, I might make certain allowances. But when you're doing this, make sure you wait for the dog to be completely calm. I'm gonna then reach for the handle. When the dog gets excited, I'm gonna pull back. And you're see me doing this back and forth until the dog sometimes moves away or sits down. They can't stay in that crazy heightened sense of alertness for too long. And so once the dog's calm enough, then we will actually step inside. So if you're somebody who's gonna help, because you really wanna practice this, I just basically, the guardian may want to leave a little cocktail outside. I've had people do that. And then, but again, it's at the dog's pace. So when the dog is excited, you're just kind of turn, just have your hands down at your side and just kind of be non-committal. Don't give the dog any direction. If the dog's too excited, you might turn to the side or might turn to, and give the dog your back. When you do the back though, you can't see what the dog's doing. So I'd recommend probably just turning aside. Watch the dog out of the corner of your eye. When you're doing these things, even if you're facing the door, try to watch the dog with the dog without the dog seeing you watch them. So pretend like you're checking out a pretty girl or a handsome boy at the beach and you don't want your significant other to know that you're watching. All right, let's see how Miley does. Now I'm knocking a little bit more and yeah, just let it do it. It's a little crooked. We have a new stabilizer. It's called a Smooth. All right. There she is. All right. So the guardian should just open this door and leave this door closed. And I told her not to give any instruction. So we're recording. All right, is this normal? Is this? All right, so you see she's pretty calm. Got a little excited. So I was expecting a lot more excitement. Usually dogs are bouncing off the walls, but. So you saw when I reach for it, usually when you reach or you start triggering the sound, that's when the dog gets excited. So she's sitting, she's pretty calm. But see, that sound is what we call a verbal cue or trigger. So that sound precedes the door opening. And so it's a very exciting time and I got all worked up. And you see, there we go. That's kind of the excitement we're looking for. So she's a cutie and there we go. She sits down. So I try again. And she's looking at the point that the door is going to open the soonest. There you go. So the first stage is just reaching for it. Second stage is jiggling it. And I'm waiting for her to stop looking at that before I reach and again. And patience is a virtue. A lot of times we're on our schedule. We got to go at the dog's schedule for these sort of things. So she's looking up. So the next stage, first stage is reached. And again, as soon as the dog gets excited, pull your arm back. The dog does this, so we're just going to wait. That looks like more like a stretch than an excited jump. And that's an example. The excitement level can't stay up here. So now I'm actually going to open it a little bit, and I'm going to close it. And I'm going to do a better job so people can see what she's doing. Like, is this guy going to come in or what? So basically, if you slow down this process, I don't know if this is normal behavior. I'm guessing it's normally more animated than this. This isn't too bad. But and now a couple other tips. If you have a dog that's an excited urinator, if you start reaching the dog and start wiggling, pull back. It's the same principle that we're doing here, except for the engagement with the dog. But if you pet the dog and that's what you're looking for, is the dog to be like, oh, whatever, I'm over you, I'm going to go look for something else to do. That's when you would go inside. So if you go reach for the dog and the dog gets excited, just pull back. Don't give it any correction. Don't tell it to sit or anything. Just pull back and just continue your conversation with the humans. When the dog kind of settles down, then reach again. And again, it'll probably be like, at first you reach this far, but if you have to, stop. Then this far, then this far. Then eventually you're about to touch the dog gets up. And so the dog, this is really a form of operant conditioning. When the dog is calm, I reach for it, the dog becomes very attractive for me to pet. When the dog is excited, it becomes invisible. And if you do this, I call this light switch on, light switch off enough, the dog learns that's exactly what we're looking for. All right, well, let's go ahead and step inside and we'll wrap up this video. All right.
He's probably wondering why I'm not open.
Yes, and while we explained all that in the video, watch me through there if you could, Hunter.
Oh, yes.
All right, that's some construction. Miley, this is Miley, and these are some tips you can use if you have a dog that gets excited, likes to jump up, nip people, or has excited urination when they're excited.